call the meeting of the Michigan City Board of Public Works and Safety to order this 22nd day of February 2022. Present are Mayor Dwayne Perry, Mr. Michael Vincent, and myself, Virginia Keating. We have a quorum. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the regular Zoom meeting of February 7th, 2022. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes?
None here, Madam President. Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, a call for the vote. Mayor Perry? Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is a street closure. This is a revised petition. Kevin Kagbine, Walsh, Herzog, Crown Point, Indiana is requesting street intersection closures of 11th Street from Chicago Street to Michigan Boulevard for 8.5 months. And we had continued this to this meeting from our last meeting so that our city departments could be involved. Mr. Craigbaum, are you there?
Yes, we're here. All Herzog's here. Yes.
Okay. All right. Why don't you go ahead and explain this to us?
Yeah. So this is part of the Nicky double track project. Basically, we're going to be closing down from Chicago to Michigan. We've had a couple meetings with Nicky and I think also with the mayor. And we do have a couple north and south streets that we know that we can't close together, which would be Wabash, Washington, Franklin, Lafayette, and Oak. And then after last week's meeting, we determined that you guys wanted to go ahead and have both Tennessee and Kentucky open when we close Ohio. So we've kind of made some alterations of the permit. But our plan is, if this gets approved, to start next Monday. That's when our ETA 01 outage starts with NICD. And we're going to go ahead and shut down 11th Street and most of those intersections, minus Wabash, Washington, Franklin, Oak Street, and then we'll leave Ohio open.
Okay. Would you please identify yourself? You're off camera. I can't even see you.
Oh, sorry. Kevin Kegabine.
Thank you very much. Are there any board questions or comments?
The comment, Madam Chair, the comment I have is that after a coordination meeting, it was agreed that Ohio was a principal street that had to remain open until the work in that intersection of Ohio and 11th is done. So I would make a motion that the list of street closures be approved pending that condition will be in place, and also the schedule of detours modified for when Ohio Street is closed. Kentucky and Tennessee will be the will be the detour route to go from north to south and south to north.
Thank you, Mayor. Before we take up your motion, Amber, are there any insurance issues with this matter?
No, they've presented everything.
Thank you. All right, then I have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you for everyone. The next item on the agenda is a special purchase. Method IC 5-22-10. Marty Corley, Michigan City Police Department Assistant Chief of Operations, is requesting permission to purchase the necessary equipment, Stalker radar, from Applied Concepts Incorporated to outfit the 4 Dodge Durangos and the 4 Dodge Chargers that they've leased in the amount of $21,046. Is Assistant Chief Corley there?
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, board members.
Why don't you go ahead and explain this?
Yes, this is reference to special purchase for the Stalker radar system for the 8 new vehicles, 4 Dodge Chargers and 4 Dodge Durangos. This equipment will be put in those vehicles for patrol operations and traffic operations.
Are there any board questions or comments?
None here, Madam President.
Then do I hear a motion?
Before a motion, Chief, I'd like to ask the same question basically I did last week about, is this brand new equipment or is it replacement? what happens to the old equipment, or is it just out of date?
Right. So it's brand new equipment. It's compatible with what we have though, because we use stock for all our vehicles. The older the equipment, there's really no replacement for it. The equipment that I guess we replace it with were in Crown Victorias that were like 2009, 2010. So that equipment is there might be pieces we can use here and there, but not a whole unit that will be usable for each one of these vehicles. So that's why we're getting the new equipment.
Okay, and the retired equipment, I'll call it, is it still workable equipment? Could we put that in another vehicle, a off-duty car, or just make use of it somewhere?
Yeah, we don't have an off-duty car, but what I do work with each distributor or each company that sells their stuff is that I work to try to see if there's anything that they will buy back from us. There's no whole unit that we can use. There might be one or two whole units we can use, but mostly we'll be piecing it together.
Okay, all right, very good. I make a motion, we approve this purchase.
I think Mayor has already made that motion, have you
Oh,
not?
I'm sorry. I'll
Okay,
second.
give me a second. Okay, then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye also. The next item on the agenda is the service agreement request. Terry Greetham, Special Event Director, is requesting approval of a service agreement between the Michigan City Board of Public Works and Safety and Chantel Bagley as the 2022 manager of the Michigan City Farmers Market, held every Saturday from May 7th through October 29th, 2022, from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Terry, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
Terry Greetham,
go ahead.
Terry Greetham, Director of Events. So our search for a new farmers market manager started at the end of last year when we were informed by Dee Haddad that she would no longer want to continue as the farmers market manager. So we put the information out. Chantel responded, met with her. Just a little bit of background about Chantel. She received her Associates of Business and Certificate of Entrepreneurship from St. Petersburg College in St. Petersburg, Florida. She holds a very strong customer service, hospitality, and social media marketing background and is devoted to supporting local small businesses and being an active part of our community. She's very personable, extremely enthusiastic, and with her strong social media skills, we feel that she has the experience to drive and grow the farmers market. We believe she'll represent Michigan City and our farmers market vendors at the highest level. She lives here in Michigan City with her fiance, her younger sister, and her 2 children. So I believe Chantel will really be able to help us take our farmers market to the next step.
Thank you, Terry. Amber, did you have any input on this?
No, I drafted the original contract several years ago. So what it was, just amended to add the new contractor and change dates. So I'm fine with it.
Thank you. Thank you. Any board questions or comments?
Make a
Just
motion, we approve.
go ahead. Go.
Sorry, I was just motioning to approve.
Okay. Do I hear a second? Mayor?
Second.
Okay. I'll call for the vote then. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye also. The next item on the agenda is a grant of easement request. Nicole Baker, Northern Indiana Commuter Transportation District, is requesting the easement to be granted to NICTA construction of the double track NWI rail project. Amber, do you want to weigh in on this?
Yes, Ms. President. I have not had time to, well, and Connor Nolan has been on vacation as well, but I am not prepared to have the final agreement for the easements to present here today. However, I received an email from Connor Nolan indicating that it was critical that the easements be addressed today. So I'm not sure if you want to pull Connor Nolan into this meeting and hear from him, if we could table it one more time, or if there is an urgency to this. because I could then explain to the board what language I was going to put in here.
Okay, is Mr. Nolan available?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead.
We were requesting that the easements pursuant to that 2016 agreement be granted ahead of the construction starting. The board did approve the closure at their last meeting, so I don't know that it's absolutely necessary for you to act today, but we would ask that you consider approving the request subject to final review of your legal counsel with the insertion of the changes that she is going to propose.
Amber, do you want to respond to that?
I'm fine with that. Some of the changes I was going to propose in here would be, I went over this with Charlie Kane. We need to add the city's requirements for insurance, indemnification, hold harmless language, that nothing would interfere with any existing underground infrastructure. And then I think on one of the pages, the legal description wasn't fully added to one of them. So I'm fine if the board would want to conditionally approve it because it would be subject to our the city's original agreement, subject to my final approval.
Well, Madam President, if I may, after hearing Mr. Nolan talk and Ms. LePage Stallbrink, I would feel more comfortable if we table this for 2 weeks. Mr. Nolan said it's not critical that we approve this document today because other documents addressing aspects of this have already been approved. We've had some things happen during the mobilization of this project, like all of our street lights being along 11th Street at Pine, Franklin, and Wabash, and Washington being thrown out of sync, street lights being out. So I would rather, for just the sake of 2 weeks, if we need another coordination meeting or just a discussion, to get all of our I's dotted and our T's crossed, so this is a solid program. So I would make a motion to table it till our next meeting.
Thank you, Mayor. Do I have a second?
Yes, I'll second.
Okay, then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vincent,
Aye.
chair votes aye, so motion carries. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the street closure request. Sean Rathbun, Notre Dame Catholic School, is requesting a street closure on Moore Road to Lakeshore Drive for the annual Notre Dame Catholic School St. Patrick's Day 5K run from 7:45 a.m. to 10 a.m. on March 19th, 2022. Is Mr. Rathbun here? Anybody from Notre Dame School here? Captain Lineski, have you looked at this?
Yes, good morning, Captain Jeff Lineski, Traffic Division. I did speak with Sean a couple days ago. This event occurred last year without any problems. The majority of this event occurs in the town of Long Beach. The only road affected in Michigan City is Moore Road, and the access to the subdivision and apartment complex located just north of Highway 12 off of Moore Road will be accessible during the event. We would recommend approval.
Thank you. Any board comments?
I make a motion, we approve.
Can you make it subject to receipt of insurance, please?
I make a motion, we approve this subject to appropriate insurance documentation.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Support?
Okay, then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vincent,
Aye.
chair votes aye also. The next item on the agenda is the 2022 Policy and Procedure Update. Terry Greetham, Michigan City Special Event Director, is requesting to update the Michigan City's farmer market policy and procedures for 2022. Terry, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Please identify yourself.
Terry Greetham, Director of Special Events for City of Michigan City. The Farmers Market Policy and Procedure document for 2022 has been updated to reflect the dates for the 2022 season, and the primary contact has been changed to Terry Greetham, Director of Special Events. No other changes have been made to the document, and the document has been it has been reviewed by Amber.
Thank you. Are there any board questions or comments?
None here.
Make a motion, we approve.
Support?
Okay. I have a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vinson,
Aye.
chair votes aye also. The next item on the agenda is the removal of a no parking sign. Robert Hart Lakeside Townhomes LLC is requesting the removal of a no parking sign on Lake Avenue for improvement of the right-of-way to allow for public parallel parking. Is Mr. Hart here?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Would you please state your name and your address?
Sure. My name is Robert Hart, Harte, 100 Anchor Road, Michigan City.
Thank you. Why don't you explain your petition?
So the petition in the agenda here said the removal of a no parking sign on Lake Avenue. It's actually on Felton. So the property is at the corner of Lake and Felton. Felton is a stub road which goes into Weil McLean. And it was my understanding, based off the conversations with Skylar and possibly Jeff Wright, we met at the site, that historically there were no parking signs put on that because there's a gate at Weil McLean, and some of the trucks were showing up very early when the property wasn't developed on that street. The trucks were showing up very early and just kind of staging there. So now that we're developing the site, we're just asking for that, for the no parking sign in front of our site on Felton to be removed, to just allow that, just like all the rest of Felton, to allow that for overflowing guest parking.
Okay. Is Jeff Wright here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Jeff, do you have any input on this?
So yes, a little bit, just for clarity. I did meet them out there. It's been a while back. And we discussed some things about making sure that they did some, in order to make the parking areas that they are contemplating to widen the street wide enough so that the trucks, while they don't park there anymore or stage there, the trucks still have to be able to make the turn. And that's all doable. It's all doable, but they have to make the parking a little bit further from the edge of pavement than right at the edge of pavement. And the drawing that they submitted shows that parking offset from the edge of pavement. And I forget the dimension, but we had discussed maybe putting some markings down, guiding the parkers to park in, at the right spot away from the edge of pavement. I reviewed it with Captain Jeff. I won't speak for him, but I did review it with Captain Jeff. I don't have any issues removing those parking signs as long as they follow through with the sketch that they sent and the markings that we had talked about.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Captain Lineski, do you want to weigh in on this?
Yes, we have no objection. Our only concern was that the parking spaces be moved far enough off of the right-of-way that they would be completely on the private property and not on the city right-of-way. We don't want to run into a situation like we have down by the beach, Sheridan Beach, where half of the parking place belongs to the homeowner and half belongs to the city, and then we're left trying to figure out how to enforce parking that's on private and public property. So as long as the spaces are far enough off that we don't have to worry about any enforcement issues, we would recommend approval.
Thank you. Jeff, do we need to commit this to writing? Jeff Wright?
Yeah, I'm staggering, and I don't know why. Yeah, I think everything in writing is a good idea.
I think-
The drawing does not actually show the striping, so it would be nice, I mean, even if it wasn't in writing per se, a drawing demonstrating the writing, and then to follow through with Captain Jeff's concern, exactly where that right-of-way line is. If the parking ends up on public property, then that becomes public parking, and then it's not reserved for those apartments or townhouses or whatever they're putting in.
Okay,
Yeah, and just I'd like to add in that, that I think what we're asking for today is just the removal of the no parking sign. And you know, I've been out there with Sue. We've been talking to Sue, and Sue said once we have the no parking sign, then Sue Downs and I will then work together to. She said, well, then her and I will work together to come up with an appropriate improvement of that shoulder area. So Sue, you know, Sue and I are expecting to take that to the next step to the extent that the board allows us to remove that no parking sign. And then it
So
would be with the.
we wouldn't have any issues removing the parking sign, but I want to be involved with whatever the pavement section is going to be.
Yeah, and it would be consistent, Jeff, with what we did out there, and I had the same conversation with Sue. Yeah.
Amber, are you there?
I am.
Yes, in regards to drafting an agreement, will that be something that you'll work with Jeff on, or is he to do it himself?
I could work with Jeff on that, absolutely.
Thank you very much. Any board comments or questions?
I have questions on the easement. Is that going to be paved, concrete paved?
Jeff, go ahead if you wanna. Or I'll just tell you. In my conversations with Sue, she said there are a couple different ways you can go, including asphalt or including brick pavers, or you know. She said that once we get the approval to move forward, that her and I would work through whatever the appropriate material would be. Whether it was, I think, Jeff, is it brick pavers or asphalt or something? I think those.
So from the engineering side, we don't care if it's asphalt, concrete, or pavers, whatever is attractive and conducive for, that you guys want to put in.
Is there any city-owned utilities in that area, or does it encapsulate the city easement off of the road?
Mr. Vincent, this is Skylar, the city planner. Are you talking about underground utilities, water, sewer?
Yes, and as you look at the area, there is overhead utility poles. Looks like a new one was installed. And if you're looking at parking off of the street, that pole seems to be in the area of the proposed construction. So is that pole going to be moved as well?
It's hard to get poles moved. I'll be really honest. They'll probably have to work around that. I think that's kind of what Jeff and Mr. Hart will probably figure out. Probably a workaround, I would assume, because they're hard to move poles. Once they're there, they don't like moving them, and sometimes there's not an option to move them. So, they may have to work around that, and sometimes it causes you to lose a parking space to some extent if it's in the middle of one. I think that's just a matter of Jeff and Rob talking and trying to work out what that is.
And that's what all the striping detail.
And just for reference, the history of that was, as Rob mentioned, he was correct. We didn't have much development there. There were 2 abandoned houses there that have been torn down. Another developer has bought those 2 houses and has developed two duplexes there. So now we're seeing, it was kind of a no man's land there. So the trucks would park there, but also we were having dumping, but we were also having just people parking cars randomly there. So hence why that no parking was put up in the past. Now you see development there, and I agree with Mr. Hart. I think that it's going to change that area a little bit, meaning that there's going to be people there, which is good. So.
And what's the intention for the additional parking?
It's just public parking. It isn't specifically for the property.
So it won't be property owned, and that's what someone alluded to earlier, that it would be for the residents that are there.
Yes.
The site plan shows 2 parking places per unit, and then along Felton Street, they're showing 4 or 5 additional supplemental parking on street parking. And there's street parking further to the west. So.
Mr. Vincent, when we subdivided this and they developed it, their development plan, they built I'll call it a semi-private alley in the back of this development. They did what the Plan Commission asked them. They did not put, they could have put 8 curb cuts in. They did not. They rear loaded this project. So they put an alleyway in that feeds. So this is just addition. This would just be supplemental parking, if you will, but it would still be public. Kind of first come, first serve, if you will. At least that's my understanding of it. Correct, Rob?
Correct.
And it will be maintained by city or maintained by the development?
It'll be maintained by the city as it's a public property. It's public. We maintain it.
Okay, I want to make clear that what is before us today is only the matter of removing the parking sign, the going forward, the implementation and so forth is another issue. And as we discussed earlier, that would be something that would be committed to writing, and Amber would assist Jeff Wright in doing that. So that being said, do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second? Mr. Vincent?
I'm uncomfortable with approving removing the sign. Once you remove the signs, summer coming up, undeveloped, no parking, people are going to park, and then we have no recourse. If the developer is going to develop it and he needs the signs removed to do the developing, then that's a different conversation. And we're still discussing some further writings and the need to discuss this further. So I'm uncomfortable removing the signs to make it public parking at this time. If it was already set up for parking, that would be one thing, but it's dirt and grass right now. And people are going to park if the sign's not there, and until it's developed and parking areas are made, then the road's going to be closed for traffic going in and out. I'm just not comfortable at this time.
I'm going to second this motion based on the recommendation of our city engineer, Jeff Wright. That being said, I'll call for a vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Nay.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the amendment to a contract. Terry Greetham, Michigan City Special Event Director, is requesting to amend the contract approved in the December 2021 between the Board of Public Works and Safety and the Sand Lovers LLC, 10391 Russell Road, Waukegan, Florida, for professional services for Michigan City Sands Festival event to be held on June 3rd through 5th, 2022 for an additional $3,000. Terry, would you explain this to us, please?
Yes, ma'am. Terry Greetham, Director of Special Events. Due to the current financial situation nationwide, we're experiencing significant increase in the cost of goods and services, including travel, lodging, insurance, equipment rental. The current contract stipulates that the amount to be paid to the sand lovers for event management shall not exceed $24,000. We would just like to raise that amount to not exceed $27,000. This amount is well within the special events budget, and of course, we'll continue to work closely with the sand lovers to control all event costs while hopefully executing a world-class art festival.
Thank you. Amber, have you had a chance to look at this?
But yes, I drafted it.
Okay. Board questions or comments?
None here, Madam President.
No, I'll make a motion to approve.
Support, second, Ms. Nylam has something.
Subject to the insurance, because we haven't had that approved yet by Attorney LePage.
Okay, so would you amend your motion, please?
Mr. Vincent?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll make a motion to approve subject to proper insurance documentation.
Thank you.
Support?
Okay, thank you. Then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vincent,
Aye.
Chair votes aye also. The next item on the agenda is an agreement for professional services. Aaron Borngraber, Associate Planner, is requesting the approval of the annual cap with the Indiana Landmark Agency for professional services in the sum of $7,000. This would begin January 1st of 2022 and would continue through December 31st, 2022. Aaron, are you there?
Yes, good morning, Mayor and board members. Aaron Borngraber, Assistant Planning Director. This is to renew a annual contract with Indiana Landmarks for professional services for our historic preservation program. And this has been renewed for several years. The $7,000 service fee has already been included in this year's budget.
Amber, have you reviewed this?
Yes, it's similar, except for the dates as to what we've done with them in the past.
Thank you. Are there any board questions or comments?
None here.
No, I make a motion to approve.
Second?
Okay, then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vincent,
Aye.
Chair votes aye, also motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a street closure request. Christine Kaiser, Michigan City, is requesting to have their annual event Running for Preston on Saturday, September 17th, 2022 from 7:45 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. And they have not presented us with the insurance, but they say they will submit that later. Is there anyone here that wants to address this issue?
Yes, I'm Christine Kaiser. I'm the co-race director and co-president of Running for Preston.
Christine, would you give
this is our 10th annual event.
Excuse me for interrupting you, but would you give your address, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. 6666 West Michael Place, Michigan City.
Thank you.
46360.
All right, now you may proceed.
Okay, thank you. This is our 10th annual event. It will also be our last event. The course closures are more of a rolling closures, so we're not completely closing a road. We're just, as the runners safely pass by, that road will be reopened. As in the past, the course is the same. There's no changes to the course, and we secure volunteer EMS, police, and firefighters to help keep the participants safe, to help with the road closures. And as you stated, we will provide insurance as the date becomes closer to the event as required.
Thank you. Captain Lineski, are you still with us?
Yes, as stated, the organizers of this event use all volunteer staff, so there's no overtime cost for the city, and we would recommend approval.
Thank you. Are there any board questions or comments?
None here.
No, I make a motion to approve. Pending the insurance.
Support?
Okay, then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vincent,
Aye.
Chair votes aye also, the motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a request for dead end street sign. Marty and Judy Dickens, 113 Gleason Court, Michigan City, is requesting a dead end sign at the entrance of their street. Is Marty or is Judy here? Anybody here to address this issue?
If I could, I spoke with Ms. Dickens last week. I looked at the situation. I think a dead end sign is warranted. Currently, there are no signs lit, and the motorists know that you can't proceed. It's not a through street. So we would recommend the installation of a dead end sign at that intersection.
Thank you, Captain. Are there any board questions? Pardon?
This is Marty Dickens.
Yes, Mr. Dickens, why don't you go ahead and address the board with give us your address, please.
Yes, ma'am. Marty Dickens, 113 Gleason Court, Michigan City, Indiana, 46360.
Thank you. What do you want to tell the board about this issue of the dead end sign?
I just heard the officer say that they approved it. I was listening, but I had it on mute. It's my first time dealing with this. Yes, we appreciate y'all putting it up there for us, and just to help keep the traffic from turnarounds and trucks and unloading and stuff for Dave's Garage from pulling up in there. And we do appreciate it.
Thank you. Any board questions or comments?
None here. Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
And Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair also votes aye. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, have a good day.
You too. The next item on the agenda is a resolution accepting the transfer of real property commonly known as West 10th Street from the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission. Amber, why don't you go ahead and explain this, please?
At the end of January, the city received a uniform property acquisition offer from NICD for 2 parcels. One parcel is owned in the city's name, one is owned in the Redevelopment Commission's name. I spoke with Alan Cernak, and he is going to be presenting this to redevelopment on Thursday. And what this contemplates is that redevelopment would simply transfer their parcel to the city. So the city would own both parcels. Once we own both parcels, then NICD would revise the uniform property acquisition offer to remove redevelopment and place solely in the city's name. So I would anticipate at the appropriate time bringing the NICD uniform property acquisition offer back to the Board of Works once this property would be solely in the city's name.
So basically, are you saying that we should approve this contingent upon the redevelopment voting to? Okay.
Correct. And they're meeting this Thursday, I believe.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any board questions or comments?
I would make a motion that we approve this pending approval of the actions that involve the redevelopment commission by that entity.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Yes, second.
Okay, then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair also votes aye. The next item on the agenda is the dedication of a road request. Anne Marie Woolwine, attorney on behalf of Dunescape Beach Walk LLC and Whispering Dunes Homeowners Association Incorporated, is requesting a road dedication of 130 feet of Whispering Dunes subdivision within the city's public right-of-way. Amber, do you have anything you want to tell the board about this?
I'm trying to put a resolution together so we have something memorializing this in writing. I know I sent a few emails to Ms. Wooleen, and I don't have the resolution ready to put in front of the board. With that being said, I know that Jeff Wright, by virtue of a pavement study, is approving the city accepting the dedication of this piece of street. But like I said, I would like to do a formal resolution memorializing all of this. It's just simply not ready with all of the attachments at this point in time.
So are you suggesting the board table this today?
I would like them to table it, yes.
And how long would you like it tabled?
Just one to the next meeting.
The next meeting, all right. Do I have any questions or comments from the board?
None
This is
here.
just a comment. I would have to have that resolution in order to submit it to the state so that the state actually takes that into our inventory. That would impact negligible, but it would ultimately impact gas taxes and distributions like that. So I do have to have that resolution.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion, Madam President, to table this item until our next meeting.
Second.
Okay, then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry,
Aye.
Mr. Vincent,
Aye.
chair votes aye also. The next item on the agenda is a street closure request. Krista Rose, Americo Engineering, Valparaiso, Indiana, is requesting a street closure on March 21st, 2022 from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. for the installation of 2 groundwater monitoring wells. Is there anyone here, Krista Rose, are you here, or anyone here that will assist?
Yes, I'm here, Krista Rose.
Thank you. Why don't you go ahead and explain this? Oh, give us your address.
I'm with Americo Engineering, 54 Michigan Avenue, Valparaiso, Indiana.
Thank you. Explain this request, please.
So yeah, we are just requesting the closure of May Avenue between Franklin Street and Washington Street so that we can install 2 groundwater monitoring wells. It's part of a remediation and investigation at 2107 Franklin Street. It's been going on a while. It's approved by the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, and we just need the road closed to fit our equipment pretty much.
Thank you. Jeff, are you there? Jeff Wright?
Yeah, I was just going to mention that I wouldn't have any issue closing the street subject to like proper detour signage.
Yes.
Thank you. Captain Lineski, do you want to weigh in on this? Have we lost Captain Lineski?
We lost him.
Captain, you're muted. You're muted. There we go.
Okay, I got it now. Yeah, we would recommend approval. This is just a 1-block stretch and there's not a lot of development on that street, so we would recommend approval.
I just have a quick question. How long will the monitoring wells be installed?
Ooh.
They will be there until IDEM closes the site. We're hoping that's like no more than 2 years.
Krista, just some background with this. This was a former dry cleaner, if I'm not mistaken, and it's associated with cleanup of dry cleaners, which most people on this call are aware that we've been dealing with that for a while. The city of Michigan City is dealing with 2 right now. So thank the landowner for doing it themselves and IDEM for doing this. Thank you.
I do have one revision to our request though. We requested the road be closed on March 21st originally. We'd like to revise that so it's March 28th, 22.
So noted. Any board questions or comments?
It sounds like the road closure is just one day. The well monitoring will go on, but traffic will be able to continue down the street.
Correct. Yes, we just need the road closed just to install them.
Madam Chairman?
Go ahead, Councilman Prespolinski.
Yeah, thank you. I believe that's on May Ave, correct?
Correct.
Is that what yeah, that was not a dry cleaner. It's that there was a printing shop at one time. An express print is what it was. So yeah, I just wanted to
That's right. I'm sorry, I misspoke, Don.
I just have one more question or one more comment. If it is going to be installed for 2 years, what I would ask is when your certificate of liability insurance expires, that we get an updated one for 2022, 2023, if the monitoring wells are still in there with all the same terms and conditions.
Okay, there was the issue of detours. Captain Lineski, do you want to address anything concerning detours?
No, as I stated, it's only one block, so you can either use Washington or Franklin Street to get around the detour, so it's not an issue.
So detours are not an issue. Thank you. Any other board questions or comments?
Yeah, I have just a question out of curiosity. What's the depth of the monitoring well?
They'll go down to 10 feet. That's the plan, at least.
Thank you.
Okay, then do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve, Madam President, pending the documentation that has been stated by Ms. LePage Stallbrink has met the documentation requirement.
Thank you. Do I have?
second.
Okay, then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is the payroll docket. We have a payroll docket for February 1st, 2022. City payroll of $216,072.41. And we also have a payroll docket for February 11th, 2022 in the sum of $769,646.01. Do I have a motion to approve?
Madam President, I'll make a motion that the payroll dockets for February 1st and February 11th for the amounts stated be approved.
I'll second.
Okay, then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye also. The next item on the agenda is the municipal claims in the sum of $1,501,066.37. The CDBG, that's the Community Development Block Grant, in the sum of $43.95. Health and Life in the sum of $188,220.88. Workers' Comp in the sum of $31,717.97 for total claims of $1,721,049.17. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the claims docket in total claims $1,721,049.17.
Thank you.
Second that motion.
Okay, then I'll call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye also. We're down now to the unfinished business pending items list. The only item that is up for discussion today is the request from Tommy Kalavic, 1316 Ohio Street, to remove the stop sign at the intersection of Wabash and Ann Streets. We had tabled this from, I think it was the last meeting in January. I'm addressing Jeff right now. Jeff, has there been any discussion about this or any plans that you've developed regarding this matter?
So I talked to Captain Jeff and we're of the opinion that those signs should stay there for the time being until they're done with the site development for the hospital. There is a site plan. I don't recall all the details of the site plan, but until the site is finished, construction projects sometimes take on changes, and there may be a need for a driveway or whatever there. I think we're just going to recommend that we leave them there until the site is more fully developed. At one of the meetings, Councilman Paul suggested moving those signs when it becomes appropriate to do so, one block north. And I believe Captain Jeff agrees with that assessment, but I think there's no reason not to wait until the site's developed, see how it plays out. We don't want to move those signs and then have to A, either move them back, or B, add another set of signs. So I think that's the recommendation. And then I'll pass it over to Captain Jeff if he wants to add more.
I would agree with Mr. Wright's assessment. I would just add that I did pull the accident stats for that intersection of Ripley and I found that we had 8 accidents within the last 10 years. There's also a slight site obstruction at the northeast corner of that intersection. So if we do move it, my recommendation would be to move it 1 block north, as was recommended earlier. And also, I believe with the closure of 11th Street, that Ripley Street may become a route that carries more traffic, just because there's a traffic signal at the intersection of Ripley and Franklin. So I think that roadway may eventually see more traffic. We may have no choice but to install stops if we notice more traffic. But at the time, we would recommend just tabling this until we can study it further.
Thank you. Are there any board comments or questions?
There's also a bus stop sign. Is that still an active bus stop?
Mr. Vincent, I'm not sure about that. I would assume that all of our bus stops are pretty much active bus stops, if you will. If there's someone standing there, they're going to pick them up. Now, how much it's used, that's probably that's a question from probably Miss Tillman at the transit center.
Okay, I just wanted to.
I don't know how many people they pick up there is what I'm getting at.
Right.
But if someone's there, I'm sure that they will stop.
Yeah, we'll have to get advice from Ms. Tillman then when we do decide to keep, remove, or move that sign, to make the bus stop sign move along with it, I think.
And I think to your point, whatever happens there in the future will probably drive. Do we put a bus shelter in there? Is it more people? Is there more people being picked up there, type thing? So,
President, Mr. Kolovic's got his hand up.
Yes. I see that.
This is Tommy Kolovic from 1316 Ohio Street. Madam President, I'm going to go ahead and respectfully withdraw my request. So may the force be with you always.
Well, we'll probably still need to address this down the road, so I think we should leave it on the pending items list regardless. Board comments on my suggestion?
I have no issue with that, Madam President.
Okay. Then do I hear a motion?
I make a motion, we leave it on the pending items list and just keep track of the development in the area and traffic patterns.
Do I have a second?
Support.
Okay, call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye also. The next, we're up to public comment. Is there any comment the public wishes to make?
Madam Chair,
Yes? Who is this?
this is Councilman Paul Prisbalinski,
Please give your
Second
address.
Ward,
Paul, give your address.
and 1716 Washington Street.
Thank you.
And I was very concerned about changing the plan on thoroughly closing 11th Street for the because in the neighborhood between, which is the Second Ward, between Ohio Street and Wabash Street, you have several one-way streets over there. And I'd like to know, has there been a traffic plan put together to address the needs of that area between Barker Ave and 11th, which is now defunct, and Ohio Street and Wabash Street, for all the one-way streets in there, such as Manhattan, Elston, and Buffalo. And how are these people? Is there a traffic plan put together now to address the needs of these this area of the city that's going to be heavily impacted by the closure, the complete closure of 11th Street?
Mr. Wright, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Are you able to answer this question at this time?
So the Councilman Paul brings up a very good point. At the end of the project, when it's all done, traffic will establish and adapt to the new pattern. During the construction, the one-way streets, during the construction period, those will have to become two-way streets because you can't go, one full block and then run into the barricades or whatever. The one-way traffic north, and the streets are wide enough to become two-way. They're wide enough to become two-way for the time being, but so I think it's mostly coordination and just informing the folks, the neighborhood folks, about what's going to happen, and that those streets are, I haven't driven every one and surveyed and inventoried every one-way street sign, but temporarily, I have to maybe get with Captain Jeff and Shong and come up with some kind of a scenario where those either get covered or, notification that two-way traffic is, will be permitted until such time that 11th Street is completely reopened.
Captain Luneski, do you want to make any statement?
I would just add that most of the one-way streets in that neighborhood are one-way for a reason. It's because they are so narrow that they're not designed to carry two-way traffic. So obviously they're going to have to carry two-way traffic while the construction's going on. But as far as reverting some of those one-way streets to two-way, I don't think it'd be possible just because they're so narrow.
Thank you.
And another concern of mine is how are we, or how will emergency services, has a plan been put together on the emergency services for that big area, how to address that for the residents over there? I mean, seriously, are we going to back fire trucks down the street? Because if they go driving northbound, I mean, is there a plan? And I would hope there would have been a plan before the street was ever closed down. So you're telling me there's nothing in writing at this time?
Madam Chair,
Is that what the board's telling me?
Madam Chair, if I may comment to Mr. Przybylski's question.
It's Councilman Przybylski. Thank you.
Excuse me, Councilman Przybylski. The latest set of drawings show for each one of those streets either a large cul-de-sac or a service road where they can jump over. If it's northbound, they can jump over and go to the next street, which is southbound, would be southbound to get back. It's a difficult situation, but if you look at the entire area, you see that the majority of those streets we're talking about don't go any further than a block or two before they terminate anyway. Going north, they terminate at either the St. Mary's Church, Marquette High School, Shoals Athletic Arena Complex, or they terminate at Lighthouse Mall. So this is a project that's been ongoing since 2009. And plans have been made for traffic flow, and I believe they're reflected in the drawings.
And if I may, Madam Chair, that the drawings were consistently showing and leaving the south side of 11th Street open for access to that neighborhood. And under these conditions, you have completely shut down 11th Street. So that's inconsistent with the drawings. So I'm bringing that point up because we got what I look at as a major safety issue for providing emergency services to those people in that neighborhood. And I want it so noted on the record. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you for your input. We really appreciate it. The next is the board comment. Are there any board comments?
None here, Madam President.
Hearing none, then I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I think Mr. Councilman Prisblinski has another comment. Your box lit up?
I don't see him on here.
Okay. I'll make a motion to, Councilman Don Prisblinski has a comment.
I don't see it.
Yeah, here you go. Can you see me now, Mrs. President? Mr. President?
See it.
Okay. All right. After last week's city council meeting, and I brought the issue up that I thought we needed more entranceways on and off 11th Street, both on the east side and on the west side. I'm glad to see that the administration listened to that and revised the plans, and they were approved here today. I think that what's been approved is a common sense plan. The one issue I guess I would have to say that Councilman Paul Prisblinski brought up, and the administration and the city engineer.
So may the force be with you, always.
We do need to look at it, and that's these entranceways into these neighborhoods that go along 11th Street. Because if you go to 11th Street, you try to go up Buffalo. I mean, you could try to go south on Buffalo, try to go south on Manhattan. Those are all one-way streets all the way down to Barker Ave. And I just can't see how a fire truck or an ambulance is going to get down in those areas. You know, even police cars are going to either have to back down or go wrong way or go the other way on a one-way street. I just think it's a situation that needs to be investigated, and just not say, well, that's what's in the plans since 2016 or 19, whatever the agreement was the agreement then. But now it's reality, and now we have to take a hard look at it to see if what their engineers had said is actually going to be conducive to the people that live in those neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Prisblinski. Are there any board comments now?
None here, Madam Chair.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay, do I hear a second? Okay, call for the vote. Mayor Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Vincent?
Aye.
Chair votes aye also. Thank you all. Have a nice day.
Have a good day.
Everyone have a good day.